Hello, I'm Vrinda. On the 27th of March, Sonam Wangchuk broke his 21-day-long fast, and you would not have heard a word of it. Wangchuk was not alone during this time, as the protest gained support from hundreds of students, social groups and political outfits. The Vikalp Sangam General Assembly and the Kargil Democratic Alliance, along with over 85 national movements and organizations, lent their support to the protest. Hundreds of students and common people slept in the open along with Sonam and fasted with him. His daily updates invariably started with a note on the hundreds of people who would have had come to meet him each day. But none of that got any meaningful coverage in mainstream media. The climate protests in Ladakh have revealed something about our conscience as a society. The rupture of democratic relations between the public and the government does not bother you anymore. It does not bother you that people's democratic, peaceful protests have been rendered ineffective by the nexus of media and state power. You just need to not be told about the demands of those who still have traces of the democratic spirit left in them. You just need to not be told about them who choose to fight for their rights. That's all it takes for you to forget about them and therefore naturally your own rights. Mainstream media has perfected the art of silencing the people into irrelevance. Push them and their issues out of sight and you push an entire population out of societal memory. The Ladakh protests have reached a crucial moment and the leaders say that the protests will again soon resume. But this moment raises an important question. Has our democracy become immune to the corrective forces of people's protest? Is this what our understanding of participation in a democracy has come to? That we mock those who fight for it? That we ridicule them and then forget them? Are the silent side watchers the only stakeholders in this democracy now? Is being silent the precondition to be recognized as a participant in this democracy? If so, then it's anything but the spirit of democracy. The Shaheen Bagh protests were vilified to no end and eventually stifled. The farmers' agitation has met with unseen levels of state repression and has also been vilified in the media. That's pretty much all that it takes to brand thousands of people as anti-nationals. No minister has so far bothered to even make a statement on the Ladakh protests in the last couple of weeks. For 21 days, 35,000 feet above sea level, under open skies in sub-zero temperatures, Sonam Wangchuk fasted with one crucial demand: restoration of Ladakh's regional autonomy. The protesters in Ladakh are demanding rights under the 6th schedule for Ladakh and the restoration of its statehood. At one point, Wangchuk explained the reason for the 21 days long fast. He said, 21 days is the longest fast that Mahatma Gandhi kept during the independence struggle, and I want to follow the Mahatma's path where we inflict pain on ourselves so our government and policymakers notice our pain and act on time. It's a testament to the heartlessness and shamelessness of the current regime that no one from within it responded to this fast. No ministers went to meet with the protesters and request the hundreds of fasting protesters to quit. No one went to Ladakh with the offer of again taking up the demands of its people. The Ladakhi community has evolved in such a way that the norms of using natural resources are largely decided upon locally. These regulations are decided by the people who themselves use the resources on an everyday basis. Notions of sacredness of natural resources also shape the way in which policy decisions are taken on the ground. This is why Ladakhis are asking for greater autonomy over their land, as the 6th schedule will make policies and their execution place-based. They are asking for the right to be able to make laws that recognize these place-based laws as legal. As a union territory that is governed from far away Delhi, Ladakhis currently have very limited say in the way their lives are regulated. Moreover, their demand is not merely political, but is also an assertion of their democratic existence. By not acknowledging the protests of the Ladakhi people, we as a society have not merely disappointed them as fellow citizens, but have also let down the democratic spirit that binds us together. Ladakh's beauty features in travelogues, tourism ministry ads, Bollywood films and songs. but it is shunted out of public discourse when its people begin to assert a voice for themselves. It is not as if mainstream media has not covered protests in the past. The same media was flocking the Anna Hazare protests just about a decade ago when he fasted for 13 days. Sonam's fast has gone on for 21 days. It's not as if this media does not have the resources or the budget. Just look at the sheer grandeur of their conclaves. It would probably be too much to expect mainstream media to now pay heed to the demands of the people when it did not cover their hunger strike for 21 days. But it's not just about these last few days. The first complete shutdown in Ladakh and Kargil took place on the 3rd of March. Following this, it spread across the districts of Leh and Kargil, but apart from a few sporadic reports here and there, the protests largely went unnoticed. Right before the hunger strike began, talks between the Home Ministry and the Ladakhi leaders failed to yield any positive outcome. The meeting on the 3rd of March was the first meeting of the Ladakh groups with Amit Shah since 2020. Shah assured the delegation that the government of India is committed to provide necessary constitutional safeguards to the Union territory of Ladakh. But were the leaders asking for constitutional safeguards? No. They were asking for statehood for Ladakh and the inclusion of Ladakh under the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Media reports say that the meeting did not result in any positive outcome. Following this, the leaders embarked on their 21-day long fast. In one of his initial messages, Sonam Wangchuk explained the reasons for fasting and protesting outdoors. He said, "This is to be in solidarity with the glaciers." This was a protest that could have given us an opportunity to begin a discussion around the ways in which we are trying to conserve our natural resources. As we approach the Lok Sabha elections, Ladakh could have opened a window to discuss climate issues that hold relevance across the country, especially the mountains. The Prime Minister talks of climate conservation very often, but a protest as widespread as this has failed to elicit any response whatsoever from a government whose leader talks of individuals and communities as stakeholders in climate conservation. Despite daily appeals and statements released by the protesters, the government did not reach out to the stakeholders of Ladakh. Ladakh is crucial to India's strategic concerns, and the protest comes at a time when the standoff between the Indian Army and the Chinese Army has yet not been resolved. At such a time, can our government really afford to ignore the concerns of the people and the land of Ladakh? While you are constantly riddled with the intoxication of Hindu-Muslim hatred and communal bigotry, Muslims and Buddhist Ladakhis have come together to claim dignity for themselves and for their glaciers, their land, their springs, mountains and their rivers. In his message at the breaking of his fast, Sonam Wangchuk said that women, youngsters, Buddhist monks and other citizens are going to continue the fast over the next couple of days. He has said that a border march will take place in eastern Ladakh on April 7 that will reveal the ground reality of the Chinese invasion. He has also said that Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah will have to show some character and far-sightedness. Will they? Will you as fellow citizens show character, far-sightedness, camaraderie and solidarity with the Ladakhis? The answer lies with you. Till next time, this is Vox Vrinda.